Hello, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode. It is episode 193, and it is November the 22nd, 2022. Countdown to Christmas is on in so many ways right now. Of course, we have to get through American Thanksgiving. I'm not American. Thanksgiving has already happened here in Canada over about 6 weeks ago. But of course, with American Thanksgiving, we know that leads up to Black Friday, and that's sort of the beginning of the holiday season, I guess. So anyways, let's look at what I've been doing. Yes, I've been working on Christmas stuff. I've been working on Christmas stuff since August, and I'm tired of it, okay? But I'm not quite done yet. But here's what I have managed to accomplish in the last little while. Let me just switch my camera over. There we go. Okay, so what you see here are 12, yes, 12 days of Christmas, 12 days of tote bags, Christmas tote bags. They're all done, and my purpose for making these is that I'm going to stick the gifts I have for various people in these bags. I probably made more than I actually need, but I think it's a good idea to have a few extras anyways for those last minute little gift things. You know, there's always something at the last minute, isn't there? That you forgot somebody, or somebody invites you to their place unexpectedly for a Christmas drink or something, and you don't want to go empty-handed. Mind you, we aren't expecting anybody to invite us anywhere. Oh well. But so I've got these done. Okay, if you look at them, yes, they're pretty much red and green. They have the an embroidered design on the outside. There's different ones. Some are repeat designs. I embroidered them on both sides of the bag as well, and they're all quilted. And you may remember back some time ago, I talked about the fact that I was going to make these bags, and that I took several meters of Christmas fabric, laid them all out on Lucy, and quilted it. And then from the quilted pieces, I cut out my pieces for the bags themselves and sewed them together, and that worked out really well. These bags are all fully lined as well, and I did make one mistake on the very last bag. Well, you know, it was the very last bag, but this was a mistake I wish I'd made on the very first bag, because I would have changed the design slightly on all these other bags. If you look at this one just over here, you probably can't see my little cursor arrow, but it's right here. The second bag from the left, this one has a little red band at the top of it. Well, what happened was, when I was finishing up this bag, when I cut the pieces out for the box corners, I turned the fabric the wrong way. And when I cut the first corner out, I realized my design was now sideways. And it was obvious it was sideways, because although you can't see it here, it's basically a steampunk Christmas deer that's on it. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Well, I thought, well, I can just cut off about 2.5 inches, because that was the size of the cutout for the box bottom. And yeah, the bag would be a little shorter than the other ones, but you know, who would know, and it would still work. But then I realized I had some leftover pieces of the quilted red fabric, and I thought, what if I cut a 2.5-inch piece from that and sewed it to the top of this bag? So cut it down, cut 2.5 inches off the top of that bag, or when I got it oriented the right way, and then sew that on. Well, that worked. And I kind of wish I had done that on all the bags. Would have dressed them up a little bit more. My Christmas tote bags are, and you've heard me say this before, my bags are utility bags, in a sense. You know, they're a workhorse. You're out doing your Christmas shopping, you got a Christmas bag, okay? Walter is making his bags. His bags are couture, okay? And we showed some of those on Stephen and Walter Live this past Sunday. And yeah, Walter hasn't got the bags done yet, but he's been madly doing his embroidery, and his embroidery is much more intense than mine is, because of the designs he picked. Like, one design on his takes like 3 or 4 hours to finish on it, but he's up till 3 o'clock in the morning anyway. So while I'm off in dreamland, he's busily doing his embroidery. So yeah, so we will show you Walter's finished bags. Now, Walter's finished bags are, excuse me, are actually a gift. The bag itself is a gift. My bags are going to contain gifts. So getting the bag with it's kind of a bonus, I guess. Anyways, that's my justification for our different styles. Could I make bags like Walter? Yes. Why didn't I? Well, I was making a whole lot of things. That's the only thing he's making is bags. You know, I've been working on this stuff, like I said, since August. I've made quilts and table runners and napkin sets and placemats and all kinds of 3D items and things like that. I've been madly going. It's like Santa's workshop around here. So yeah. So is that an excuse? Yeah, it is. Whatever. But a lot of you have been writing comments in saying how much you love Walter's creation so far. Am I jealous? Yep. Let's move on. Okay, this. Okay, this is Stephanie Stitch's pattern for the Mosaic Star quilt. You've heard me talk about it before. And here are 15 of the stars all laid out on my design wall. Now, I thought at this point I was finished. I thought the pattern only called for 15 blocks. No, it's double that number. It's 30. So I have the pieces cut out for the next 15, and I'll carry on with this project again once I get what I have left for Christmas things out of the way. It is going to be spectacular. The fabric that I'm using is called poured. I don't think it's available anymore. Walter bought me an 80 a box at last Christmas that had 80 fat quarters, the whole color, or the whole, what do you call it, the whole design set collection in that box. And I was waiting for a pattern that I thought would show off the fabrics well. And Stephanie's definitely does that. And what I like about Stephanie's pattern too is, as I look at this could be done in so many different ways. For example, if you really wanted this to be very, very dramatic, you could take those little, what looks like a square behind the star, and make that in a contrasting color, like say a black in the case of these fabrics, and it would just pop. Kind of wish I'd thought about that before I started this, although this is still going to be fine. I'm thinking in Christmas fabrics, this would be a spectacular Christmas quilt as well. The design is very, very well written. You've heard me say that before, and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving this pattern. So if you're interested in getting this, check out Stephanie's Etsy store, and you can pick it up there. I do not have a link to her store, but it's easy enough to find. So yeah, so that's called Mosaic Stars, and I'm looking forward to when I get back full swing into it and get this one completed. Speaking of completion, I have completed the block of the month completely. This is one, I took this as a class. It was a block of the month. It's called Lakeside. And it was done through Ultimate Sewing, my local quilt store, with Donna, the hostess with the mostest, who's the instructor. This was a challenge for a number of reasons. I won't go into them, but I am so pleased with the end result. Now, what you're seeing here now is it's completely quilted and bound. It's hard to take a picture of this to really show you what this looks like. In real life, it's even more vibrant. Now, this may not be to everybody's taste. You may think it's too busy with the color choices I make, and that's fine. But these are the color choices that essentially they scream me. Because you know I love bold and beautiful when I pick fabrics for a quilt. I did run into one little problem, as I often do when I put it on Lucy. And this is the problem. I have a Lucy, a APQS Lucy, and I bought the one with the 10-foot frame. Now, Walter's always been on my case that he thinks that was a mistake, that I should have bought at least the 12-foot frame. My argument's always been, yes, but I can't get the 12-foot frame in the room and get around it. He claims, yes, we could have. Yes, we could have. Whatever. But this was a told you so situation. What I mean by that is, and I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that. And because this is a large quilt, it measures about 95 inches by 96 inches. Now, Lucy can handle about comfortably about 98 inches with, room for, to have larger backing and larger batting on it. So anyways, yeah, there was no problem putting Lucy on the frame. My problem came with the way I cut the backing fabric. And I do this a lot, and I don't know why. I'm geometrically challenged, I'll tell you that right now, amongst other types of challenges. So I got the backing fabric on the frame, and it was a little bigger. I had a wide back fabric. It was 110 inches wide, and I had 3 meters of it. And I cut off the excess along one side because otherwise it was going to be longer than my leader rollers. So I did, figuring that I had left enough fabric to comfortably quilt outside of the quilt, like you should do. And I did, for the most part. Except it was a little, I could have used a couple of more inches of that because I forgot to take into consideration that my clamps that, give the quilt a little bit of tautness that you put on the sides were getting in the way of the carriage when it came over. Okay, I got around that problem by simply just taking, when the machine went over, I was doing this with the computerized system, the quilt path. When it got over to that area of the quilt, I would just unclamp those. And the quilt was holding up and everything like that, not a problem. So, I mean, a bit of an annoyance, but it worked okay. But the problem came when I got down to the very last row of the quilt. It wasn't even an entire row, it was half a row of stitching. Well, I just had enough fabric to give me about 6 inches beyond the bottom border. Thing was, again, I didn't take this into consideration. When I put it onto the leader was hanging out in space. What I mean is that it was, hanging out across the open area of the underneath side of Lucy. I don't think I'm explaining this very well. Anyways, not really a problem except for the fact that, again, the carriage that holds the needle, head, arm, whatever you want to call it, was bumping into the red snapper plastic tubing things that I used to clamp my quilt to the leader. And that was creating a problem. So what do I do? Well, remember that piece I cut off from the side of the backing fabric? I decided, and this is this is a MacGyver kind of thing, okay? I took it, I sewed it onto the bottom of the quilt, about a 1/4 inch in, just enough to tack it down. Then I took the leaders off, the leader clamps off the bottom of the quilt, and reclamped it using that extra piece of fabric, which was about 12 inches long. That gave me enough space so that the carriage wouldn't run into the clamps on the leader, and I got the quilt finished. But I'm telling you, I was getting very, very frustrated. And there were a couple of other things that were frustrating me, but I'm not going to go into those because they have to do with the computerized program. You see, a long arm is a great thing to have. However, and maybe it's just me, there can be some tricky problems. So anyways, the bottom line is I got it quilted, fine, it's bound, it's done, and note to self, this is the largest quilt I can do on my Lucy, pretty much. So, and I don't usually make huge quilts, like not this size. So it's really not a problem. If I ever do again, then I'll seriously consider renting time on one of the larger long arms that Tracy has at Whirls N Swirls and finishing it up there. But anyways, it is done. It's gorgeous in my opinion. And on December the 14th, all of us that were in the class, and it was a Zoom class, we're all going to meet at Ultimate Sewing to show off our quilts. And so I'm kind of excited about that as well. So that one is done, and it was a long time coming. Now, this is just the backing that I used. You can't really see the quilting on it. I did the quilting on this in a gold thread. Here's a little close-up of it. And I did something fairly open because, I mean, the quilt already is very, very busy, right? So you can see here, it's kind of a combination of swirls and circles and that kind of thing. I like the design on it. I think it worked very well. Now, I am now taking another class. This is a block of the month class too, so this is why this looks a little unusual. These are the pieces that have been made so far. The first 2 months created what you see here in the center. It is a quilt with a lot of applique. There's more applique to come on this, and I'm really enjoying doing the applique, and that's one reason why I took this class. This was also a kit as well, so these are not the colors that I selected, but they are all batiks, and I love batiks, and I like the colors that they had in the kit. So I did buy the kit. It was expensive, including the class price. It was about $480 for this, Canadian. So yeah, now I just got done saying that I wasn't going to make a big quilt again. Well, I have a feeling this is going to be a big quilt. But lessons learned, I will manage. But this one's not going to be done for quite a while. So this is what you see here is 3 months worth of pieces. I don't know how these other pieces fit into the quilt yet, but I guess I'll find. So in a sense, it's kind of, well, it's not really a mystery quilt because I do have a picture of the final quilt. But of course, there's more pieces to get or to make in the next months, in the coming months, before this will start to come together. But I think it's going to be a very nice quilt as well. Well, it better be a very nice quilt for what I spent on this. Okay, so this thing that's sitting here. Okay, yes, this one's busy. These were leftovers. I had some of that quilted fabric that I used for the Christmas bags left over, and I thought, well, why don't I just throw together a table runner or a banner? I don't know what this is. I don't know what you want to call it. So I did, and then I decided that since it was already quilted, you know, you got to keep the layers together. I put another backing on this because when I added these little border strips, I have a pretty thick seam because basically it was 2 fabrics and batting sewn together, and it looked ugly, of course. So although this already had backing fabric on it, I needed to cover that up. So I did. I put another Christmas fabric on as backing, and I did the, what do you call that? An envelope, or not an envelope, a blanket turn or whatever, pillowcase turn. I don't know what it's called, but you know, basically where you don't need to put a binding on the quilt, on whatever you're making. You just turn it in right sides back out, and away you go. Well, that's what I did with this. Then I did stitch in the ditch all the way around the edges here. I still need to press this a little bit because it's been in my embroidery machine. So like I said, I stitched in the ditch around these seams here, and just to make it a little bit more interesting, I decided to embroider these snowflakes on it. And those are also, they're going right through all the layers. So you see the snowflake on the back as well. And that also serves as a way of, you know, keeping the layers together. Now, I call it a table runner. I don't know. I don't think this is something I'm going to give anybody because, to be honest, I don't hate it. But it was made from scraps. It was just something to use up the scraps. And I don't know. I don't know if I like it. To be honest, I don't know if I like it or not. And if I don't like it, I don't want to give it to somebody else. I may just use it. I might throw it over the back of a chair as part of my decor. It would look fine. thrown over the back of a chair, you know, at Christmas kind of a thing. So that's maybe what I'll do with it. I will see. Okay. Um, do I have, nope, I don't want to show you that yet. Okay, so let's go back to me. Okay, so yes, I've been a busy boy. So what else is new? Well, I got my order from Missouri Star Quilt. And I ordered Jenny's Countdown to Christmas box, her Advent box, and it arrived last week. I have not opened up any of the gifts in it yet, and I'll show you what it looks like here. So this is the box, and I love the box. It looks like a little suitcase. So, you know, in itself, that box is part of the gifts, so to speak. And I am sure this will be great storage. I'm thinking my fat quarters could go in this or whatever. I don't know what I'll keep in it, but definitely I'm hanging on to the box. I did open it up just to see. Now, because somebody had said, I heard this on a couple of YouTube channels of other people who got this. They said that they were missing an item. So I opened the box just to make sure, and nope, there are 25 items in here, and you can see what they look like. I don't know what's in them yet. I haven't opened any of them. They're all numbered for the days. So 1 through to 25, and I'm just dying to open these up, but I'm not going to do it yet. Now, Stephanie at Stephanie Stitches, she got one as well. And we were talking on the weekend during Stephen and Walter Live about the possibility of the two of us doing an openings, a reveal, whatever you want to call it. We'd open up our gifts together and then comment on each thing. So we have made plans for this. And here's how the plan works. We have set 3 dates aside: December 4th, December the 11th, and December the 18th. And we're going to do it via Zoom. It's not going to be live. It will be she and I working together, and then we'll record it, and then we'll post it on our website or on our channels as well after the fact. So they may not come out right on those dates I just gave you. Those are basically the dates when Stephanie and I are going to actually do it and record it. And we're going to open up our gifts, whatever ones we have for that. So and I think we've decided that for December 4th, we're going to divide it up. We're going to open up 7 gifts, 8 gifts each session. So we'll be a little ahead of the game in some cases. Like on December the 4th, technically we should only have day 1 to day 4, but we'll have day 1 to day 8 on that. It's just a time thing. And we'll talk about them, you know, whether or not we like what we opened up, how we're going to use it, you know, whether it's appropriate. So watch for that. That won't be until after December 4th. The first one will go up on my channel, and there'll be the same thing will go up on Stephanie's channel whenever she decides to put that up. So that's how we're going to do it. So that should be a lot of fun, I think. Okay. So I have another Christmas box coming as well that I ordered several months ago from Kawartha Quilting. You've heard me talk about Kawartha Quilting before, another one of my favorite quilt stores in my area. And they are having a Christmas box too. So I've paid for that. I'm just waiting for them to send me an email saying that it's ready for pickup. And that should happen pretty soon, I think, because they said we'd have it before December the 1st, and I'm sure we will. So we're getting close to that date. So that one, I'm not sure how I'll handle that one. I will probably spread it out over several of the Idiot Quilter ones, like whatever, you know, how many I get up there. So for example, if it comes on December the 1st, then I would do my first Idiot Quilter after December the 1st. That would mean I'd probably open about 3 or 4, maybe 5 of the things that are in that box. So we'll see how that all works out. And then you can compare the two. In a sense, it's the US versus Canada. I just thought of that. I could do something with that, because this one that I just showed you is from Missouri Star Quilt. That's American. And the one I'm getting from Kawartha Quilting is Canadian. Might be interesting to see what how they're different. Whatever. Okay. Thinking out loud now, and that's always a dangerous thing. All right, moving on. I do have another toy to show you. I've done a little video. It's called the Vivolux Laser. And this is one of those laser lights that you can mount on your sewing machine, and it will put a line down so you can, sew straight, or you're doing half square triangles or something like that. So here's my review of that.
Today I wanted to show you a new product that I've been thinking about buying for a while but never got around to it. And now that I have it, I don't think I'll probably ever use it. Is that because this product is a bad product? No, it's just because I really don't need it or can't think of a way that I want to use it now. And what I'm talking about is this, the Vivolux 3-in-1 rechargeable laser system red laser. Now I saw Becky on Power Tools with Thread, or Thread with Power Tools, whatever that's called, that site. And she was at the big quilt show in Houston recently, and she interviewed the person that creates this product or sells this product, and it looked really good. Now, this company, they make other things too. They make lights and things like that as well. But I thought I would buy this, but I couldn't get it from the States because it was going to cost me an arm and a leg with the exchange rate and shipping. So I went on Amazon, and yeah, it was a pricey thing. It was about $70 on Amazon, but I picked one up anyways, and I now have it. What does it do? Well, basically, it shines a laser line across your sewing table so you can line up your pieces accordingly. And well, let me just take a second here and show you what I'm talking about. So this is what this product looks like, and it comes with Velcro strips so that you can attach it to your sewing machine. And they recommend, and there's a video on YouTube showing you where the best placement is for your sewing machine so there isn't vibration. It is rechargeable. It takes a USB cable, and it comes with that in the box, and it has an on and off switch. Now what you have down here is the laser light itself, and this is what the end of this looks like. And so you can see here, you can adjust it so that you can line it up. And I'm not doing a very good job of this one-handed, but I think you get the idea. It's very flexible. You just bend it until you get it into the right position, which I'm not doing very well because I only have one hand. But you get the idea, okay? See that there, that's a little better. And then I'm a little crooked, but you would line it up properly when you have two hands available. And this shines along your table, and so the idea is you take a piece of, or take your half square triangle or whatever you need to, and you don't have to draw the line because you can line it up right along here. Now, have I used it for this yet? No, I have not. So I can see that if you're the kind of person that uses masking tape built up along the side here to find your 1/4 inch or whatever, this would work for that. I have a 1/4 inch foot that I'm very happy with, and it works very, very well for me. So that is why I don't find I'm going to have any real use for this laser light. Although, as I said, if I'm doing something like, I need a diagonal line, I don't want to draw it on a whole lot of pieces, well, I think I could use that for this. Now, it does come with three it comes with three heads, for lack of a better term. One does the straight line, as you see here, one does crosshairs, and one is just a dot. So again, I'm not really sure how you would use those, but you could, I guess. You could also use this with your embroidery machine too, if you want to line up things. So it would be handy for that. So yeah, it was about $70 Canadian on Amazon.ca. It's cheaper in the States. If you live in the States, I'd recommend you buy it, directly from the website itself, from the company. And yeah, I don't think it's a bad product. In fact, I think it's a really great idea. It's just, for me, I don't really have a purpose for it.
Also, I have part 3 of the Christmas tree skirt tutorial video that I have been creating. And this is where I show you the initial stages of laying your fabric down onto your hoop and doing the tack down stitches.
Okay, so I've loaded up the design for this. This is actually block number 2, because I already showed you block number 1. And the first thing you've got to do is hoop up your stabilizer. As I said, have it hooped up. It's tearaway that I have in there. And I've loaded my machine with a black thread. Now, why a black thread? Well, this is going to give me an outline for where I lay down my batting. And then I'm going to take it out of the hoop, I'm going to trim the batting, then I'm going to lay a piece of fabric, my background fabric, which is the one with the moons and the stars and everything on it, on top of that line, and it will do another stitch that will tack that down. It'll secure the fabric to the stabilizer, and then we're ready to go. So I've got stabilizer loaded, as I said, I've got my thread loaded, I'm going to drop my needle, and it's going to do the outline, except I just realized I have not threaded my thread. There we go. It always helps. Okay, now we can go. Now the hoop I'm using is what they call a 28B, which is the hoop size for the Janome 550E. These designs, though, accommodate for almost every embroidery machine on the market, and so your hoop numbers may differ. But the machine will tell you that. It'll tell you which hoop to put in. Okay, so there's my outline. So I know where to place my batting. So I've got a piece of battleizer already cut. I'll lift up the needle. I like to scoot out the thread from under there, although it is cut. Just makes things easier. Put this under there and lay it out. Make sure that I have all sides covered. So you want to cut your batting a little bigger than your initial outline. And away we go. Now we don't have to do a color change here because this black is going to get covered up by the fabric, so no one's going to see it. Plus I did pick a fairly dark fabric, so even if it didn't get covered up, no one's going to see the black. Now if you're really particular and you want to match colors, you can do that. That brings up the question as to what am I using in my bobbin? Well, I'm using white thread. I buy pre-wound bobbins. I buy them from montville.ca. That's where I have found the best price and the most reliable equipment that I need for any kind of machine embroidery. And I don't worry about changing the color. I seldom actually change the color of my bobbin thread. 9 times out of 10, I use white. No one's going to see the back of this because it's going to be buried in the sandwich when it's all done. The backing fabric is going to cover that up. So I don't need to spend the time with winding 10, 15 different colors of bobbin thread. White will do in this project. Okay, so this is almost done. It's gone around that outline twice just to secure the batting to the stabilizer. It also makes it easier for trimming, which I'm going to show you here in just a second. Okay, the machine is finished, and now I'm going to remove the hoop from the machine. I'm not taking the batting and the stabilizer out of the hoop, and I'm going to turn this around so you can see what I'm talking about. So there it is. You'll notice I have my book of instructions open so I don't blow anything. Let's just move that a little bit out of the way. Okay, so now I have my batting in here. I need to trim all the way around, and this is very easy. What you need is a pair of these. These are applique scissors, or duck bill scissors as they call them. They make trimming fabric or battleizer or whatever in an in the hoop embroidery project really easy. And this is what you do. You just go in. You do not want to cut your stitches, and this is why these scissors are so great the way they're designed. I like to pull on my fabric, or my battleizer in this case, just slightly, put a little tension on it, and it allows me to cut very close to the thread without cutting the thread. You don't want to leave any more than 1/8 of an inch all the way around this cut line. Otherwise, it might peek out from underneath some of your future stitching. For example, if there was going to be a satin stitch, and there isn't on this particular one, you don't want your batting poking out between all of your satin stitch. Yeah, that's the word I wanted. Okay, so that was very easy, very fast. Now, we're going to put our fabric on top of that. Again, you cut your fabric. They usually give you the measurements for how big you should cut your fabric. I just usually eyeball it. As long as it's bigger than what's under here, that it covers all the sides, that's all that matters. And we're going to put this back on the machine. And let me turn you around so you can see that. Oops. Turned you the wrong way. Here we go. Okay, so that's secured. Make sure there's no wrinkles in your fabric. I like to press it before I put it on. And I had done that already in advance of this. And I'm just getting you positioned for this. And now it's going to do something called a tack down stitch, which looks exactly like the stitch you just saw, except it's going to hold the fabric down to, oops, put the needle down. So it's securing the fabric to the stabilizer on top of the Vivolux. Now I believe this will go around twice to secure this. We shall soon see. Now, if you see a wrinkle coming up, you can take your hands, keep them well away from the needle, and you can just sort of smooth it down along the way. Again, do be careful. You don't want to put a needle through your finger. So that's securing the fabric, as I said, to the stabilizer and the Vivoluxer. And yes, it's going to go around again a second time to make sure it's absolutely secure. Now, according to the book, or to the instructions, what's going to happen next is going to be the decorative stitches that go into the block, the actual embroidery. And in this case, they say just to go with whatever your machine tells you to do at the time that you're doing it. So we will do that. Now, I'm not going to take you through all of this because there are several designs it's going to embroider on. I'm just going to get it started here in a second and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to rethread my machine with the next color and get it ready for the embroidery. But one thing I want to mention to you is
Okay. So this takes me to something I want to get a little bit more serious right now. I got a lovely email from one of my subscribers, Diane Corday. I hope I said her name right. And I want to share it with you because I was very humbled by this and I was very flattered by this email. And she writes, "Good day, Stephen. I have been debating sending this email for a short while. Here's my story regarding the Idiot Quilter. 3 weeks ago, I came down with COVID. I was surfing YouTube and found your episode number 3. After watching that, I decided to see how many other episodes I could find. I found a playlist of over 200 episodes. I continuously watched episode after episode until I got to about number 135. Then I decided to skip to the end to see if you were still going. Of course you are. So after watching the most recent episode, I went back to where I left off to fill in the gap. Thankfully, I have recovered from COVID, but thought that I would tell you thanks for entertaining me during that not so pleasant time. I have now subscribed and will submit a picture of one of my pieces in due course. Cheers, Diana from Bermuda." Well, that email is the reason why I keep making these videos. I'll be very honest. I have basically thought at times, why am I doing this? Um, it is a lot of work, although when you do something you enjoy, it's not really work at all. But, I could be doing other things. And I'm also thinking, what am I doing? Am I just repeating what everybody else does? There's hundreds of thousands of videos that do basically what I do. Talk about their quilting, share products and things like that. So am I just reinventing the wheel here or what? Um, I have to also admit that sometimes I get a little discouraged because I do get some comments that are critical and not constructively critical, or people who tell me I'm wrong about something. Again, yes, I could be. Thank you for, putting me on the straight and narrow path. Or sometimes there's just been a few, and not very many, but there's just been some very hurtful comments. And those ones I tend to ignore, but it still does hurt. And, you know, sometimes you just want to throw in the towel and say, why am I bothering? Really? I don't get paid to do this. I'm not looking to be paid to do this. Yes, it's monetized. Everybody on YouTube is monetized, and I get a little something, but it is a little something. Um, but I do it because I do enjoy doing it. And I've met so many wonderful people through my YouTube channel and through, craft and chat, pop-up sew days, my sewing on demand kind of things. And I do call many of those people friends, even though I've never met them. So that keeps me going. But to get an email like this that says, I they found that what I was producing helped them through a difficult time, that just warms my heart. And it just says to me, keep going, because if this is one person that has found that, then there's probably others. And that's, in my way of thinking, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So, yeah, thank you, Diane, for this lovely email. It really made my day. Okay, let's get off the serious bandwagon now, shall we? And go to the YouTube of the week. And this was recommended to me by a subscriber. And when I got to this YouTube channel, I realized I had seen it before and I'd already subscribed to it, but I hadn't done anything with it. I think I actually reviewed the YouTube channel maybe once before. I can't remember. So I'm sorry if this is a repeat of something that happened a while ago, but I'm old, I'm forgetful. So here's my review of the Quilting Loft. This week's YouTube channel is called Quilting in the Loft, and I came across this by accident very recently. And so I have been checking this person's backlog of videos, and there's quite a few here to choose from. If we go to the video list, you can see that we have a variety of things: ruler work, crumb piecing, a studio tour, DIY notebook, log cabin she shed, introducing, and she has a video introducing herself as well. I found this video because of this one right here, this YouTube channel, the She Shed House Quilt Tutorial, which looked really interesting because I'm very interested in the little houses on a quilt. So that caught my attention. But there is much more here as well. Now, I have sent out an email to this person, Robin, I believe is her name, about doing an interview. And my idea of doing the interview is, one, to make her YouTube channel a little bit more out there for people to find and check out, because I think it's worthwhile. Her tutorials are very clear, and she does a very professional job. So if you're interested in something that maybe has some very unique types of tutorials, then I would check out Quilting in the Loft. And I just realized I said before I showed you the clip that I called it the Quilting Loft. It is called Quilting in the Loft. And I did send out a request to do an interview with the lady, I think her name is Robin, that does this YouTube channel. And she did write back and said that she would check out my other videos as well and then get back to me. Well, that was over a week ago. I haven't heard anything from her, so I guess she's not impressed with what she saw and she doesn't want to be part of it. I don't know. Maybe life got in the way. Whatever. So, yeah. My policy is basically if you don't bother to write back after I request, then that means it's a no. And so I don't bug you. I don't bug you. If you want me to interview you, I'm sure you'll let me know. Okay, moving on to patterns. This is one by Donna Jordan, and yep, it's one I want to do at some point in time. This week's pattern from my collection of patterns is called Diamond Pops, and it's designed by Donna Jordan for Jordan Fabrics. This is a free pattern, as so many of Donna Jordan's original patterns are. And I really loved the colors that she used. I think this would look great in batiks. And I also think it would be a great quilt for the Project Linus situation that I'm getting myself involved with. I think this would be appropriate for both a boy or a teenage girl, a teenage boy or teenage girl. And its finished size is 68 to 80 by 81 inches, which falls within the suggested size that Project Linus puts out for teen quilts. They give you the list of fabric requirements here, and it looks fairly easy to put together. It looks like they're using the strip tube ruler from Cozy Quilts. I believe it's made by Cozy Quilts, and that's one that I have, and I really love that ruler. And if you don't have that ruler, it is a great ruler, believe me, especially when you're trying to square up things like half square triangles. And of course, there is a YouTube video as well, tutorial that goes along with this quilt. So I'm looking forward, probably not until the new year, to make this one, but I have set it aside as a potential quilt for Project Linus. And you will find a link for that free pattern in the show notes below. Okay, so I do have an interview up for you this week. It is Myrna, Bags by Myrna. She is a Canadian, very, very creative and talented bag designer. And the interview was great, just great. And so here's my little teaser for that interview.
I'm fascinated by the many ways that you can fill the same form. I'm not at all thrilled if I'm sewing the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah, mass production. Yeah, it gets
so having a very simplified bag design and saying, here's how you make this simple bag. And then here's these 500 million things that you could do to fill the form means that over time, your hands are moving with ease because you're familiar with how to make this bag. But your mind is going crazy because it goes, what if I paint it? What if I piece it? What if I do it out of thread? What if I cut up a quilt? What if I cut up a coat? What if I, and you just go on and on and on. And there are points at which you're like, what am I doing?
And so you will find a link to that interview with Myrna below. Okay, so online fabric stores. Now this one's a little different, as you're going to hear. This was recommended to me by one of my subscribers, and here's my review of the Green Thimble. This week's online quilting store is something a little different, and this was recommended to me by a subscriber. It is called Green Thimble, and they recycle fabrics and sewing supplies. So let's just take a look at this because this is a very interesting concept. It says on their home page, recirculating fabrics and sewing supplies. Online-based shopping, however, it is understandable to want to view items in person before purchasing, so please feel free to book a time to see our stock at, and they are in, I believe, well, on Stony Plain Road, but I'm not sure where that is. I think it's out west. I'm just going to take a look. Okay, not really sure there. Contact us. Let's just see if it's in the contact us. No, it's not. But I do think they are out west. And just very interesting that it doesn't say where they are located. Okay, well, I may find this later on. But right now, let's go stick to this page that I'm on already, because this gives you some background. They call it Giving Back to the Planet is Always Fashion. The Green Thimble is dedicated to supporting sewists of all types while being sustainable and eco-friendly. We do this with multifaceted approach, reintroducing sewing supplies such as fabric and sewing machines back into circulation rather than them ending up in landfill, providing local, recycled, and reusable products wherever possible, minimizing energy use and waste and behind-the-scenes work, and we're adding new methods all the time. So they have circulating sewing supplies, providing local, recycled, and reusable products, minimizing energy use and waste, supporting waste reduction. This is a really interesting bend on selling on a line. They are really focused on being sustainable and being green friendly. So let's check out their shop and see what they have to offer. Okay, so over on the left-hand side, they have their fabrics organized by color, fabric type, and then they have machines and accessories, thread, books, trims and hardware, notions, patterns, Christmas, and kits. Okay, so let's take a look at their fabric. Purple Gray Swirl Batik Bali Woven Cotton, 1 meter. 1 meter? Does that mean it's $7.80 for a meter? And by the looks of things, yes, it is. And oh, by the way, here they are. They're in Edmonton, Alberta. Okay. One piece is 1 meter with a piece cut out in the corner. Why would they cut out a piece out of the corner? I don't understand that. I've never seen that before. Okay, let's go back into their fabric and just take a look at something else. Maybe that's unique to that particular one. They have a red woven poly, $3 to $5, cinnamon brown wool blend. Okay, so what they're selling is more fabrics for garments, although they do have some cottons, some very expensive fabrics too. So their prices are all over the place. I guess it depends on the type. Okay, quilting cotton. They do have a category for quilting cotton. Let's take a look at that. Rainbow dyed tie-dye batik with flower stamps, $22.10. Then they have a bunch of charm packs. Charm packs aren't a bad price, $8. How many pieces? 42. That's a really good price. So that's pretty good. All right, let's go back and take a look at what else they have. Fat 8th bundle, $21. Now, rough hewn by Andover Fabrics fat quarter bundle, $46. 23 pieces, 20 by 20. Okay. That's not a bad price, $46. Very reasonable, I think. Let's see. More quilting cotton at $9.60. So there's different, the prices vary. But at a meter, they're all looking good. Let's just double check to make sure it's 1 meter. Oh, it said that. Okay, so really, their prices are pretty good. Now, what's their selection like? Well, they have some interesting looking fabrics here. Some of them I've never really seen in other places before. And again, $8 to $11 a meter. Except this one, this is a 1.25. Now I'm wondering if these fabrics are recycled somehow. Could be. I don't really know. Now, as far as quilting cotton selection, although they have some unique things, they don't have many. They don't really have a lot, which might have to do with the fact that they recycle. Maybe some of these are being liquidated from other places. Pre-cuts, yeah, we've seen those all on the same page. Okay. Again,
not a huge selection. Quilting panels, only 2. Okay, so selection is very limited, but prices are very good. So there might be something here that grabs your interest, and you might want to pick some of that up. Let's take a look at patterns. Well, nothing here to get all excited about. Okay. Let's take a look at Christmas. Again, we've seen these, not really much there to choose from. Kits. Yeah. Okay, those are cute. But really? No, not a big selection of that either. Anything else in their shop? Well, let's take a look at their machines because they recycle machines. So I'm assuming these machines are used machines that they have refurbished. And so not bad. Of course, you know, getting these, the shipping would probably be a lot of money from these. But, you know, if you were in the area, it might be worth checking out what they have for recycled machines. Thread. Gutermann. And that seems to be what they sell is Gutermann thread. I'm assuming this is brand new thread. I'm not sure if that's a good price or not. Oh, it's 100% recycled. Well, that one is. But the other ones I'm assuming are new because they don't say recycled next to them. Okay. Anything else on here we should take a look at? They have stories, whatever those are. Okay, so some of their personal stories and adventures. Okay. Makes it a little bit more personal, I think. Book. Oh, that's if you want to check out their story, you need to book it, and they talk about it here, how to do that. Okay. Well, all right. If you're into, you know, sustainable products, you're into recycling, this might be a spot for you to go to. Oh, the one thing I didn't check out was shipping. Let's see. Do we have a section about shipping? Don't seem to. Oh, something about 5% of the profits go toward organizations that focus on waste reduction and textile recycling. Okay, well, that's a good thing, I guess. I just don't see anything here about shipping. Let's see if I do a search. Nope, no results for shipping. Okay, let's buy something. Shipping. Add to cart. All right. Continue to cart. Nope, shipping. Shipping rates calculated at checkout. Okay. Checkout. Still no shipping.
Waybill, consignment note, waybill and universal transfer document.
Okay, I didn't ask for that. That was my Alexa going off, so I don't know why. All right, so if I have to put in an address to figure this out, so I'm not going to do that while I'm online here. So I have no idea. It sounds like it's probably coming from Canada Post though. Okay, so overall, something a little different. Am I going to order from them? Nope, don't think so because there isn't anything here that I really want. I think they have an interesting concept. Maybe more stores need to go this way as well because, you know, fabric production does take a toll on the ecology,
our environment. So, you know, if you get a chance to get some recycled things, then that probably cuts down a little bit on pollution. So, up to you to make the decision. Overall, it's interesting. So that brings me to the end of this week's episode. And what's coming up? Not a heck of a lot. Same old, same old. I am toying with the idea of doing a pop-up sew day this coming Saturday, which would be what, November, I have to look here. November 26th. November 26th. That's a Saturday. I don't know yet. So watch this space for an announcement of that when I make up my mind. I am, though, going to be on that same day at 8 o'clock in the morning. I am doing a live with Sean on his channel, The Guy Who Sews. We are doing a little mini trunk show of some of our quilts and basically talking about our evolution in quilting as well. So you may want to tune in to that. It will be live. I'm assuming it's going to be live. Pretty sure it's live. At 8 o'clock in the morning. So just look for The Guy Who Sews and you'll find it. That'll also, I'm sure Sean will put it up as a replay for those that can't make that time. So that will mean that if I did have the pop-up sew day on Saturday, it won't probably start until around 9:30-ish. Maybe. We'll see. Not making any promises. I am also thinking of turning on my come and sew with me kind of thing. I need a better name for that. I call it Sew Craft with Me. There is a link for that Zoom in the show notes below. And I'm pretty sure most of you have heard what this is, but just in case you're new and you don't know, when I'm sitting around just sewing all by my lonesome, I turn that on, and if you happen to be doing the same thing, you click on it, and if I'm here, I let you in. You'll know when I'm here. If I don't let you in within under a minute, then that means I'm not here. So I'm thinking of maybe I might even do today. I don't know, later on. I've still got a few things to do. Of course, by the time you see this, it'll be later in the day. And maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. And just a very advanced notice, Craft and Chat, first Wednesday of every month. So the first Wednesday of December is December the 7th, I believe. But next week in all of my videos, there will be a link to the Craft and Chat session for the month of December as well. So yeah, those are my plans, my ideas, my thoughts. I've gone on for too long. It's time to say goodbye. So I will. Have a great week. I hope you're getting caught up on your Christmas sewing if you're doing things like that. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.